What up, YouTube? Q&A with Eric Helms, 3MJ Coach. Before moving on, I'd like to say, in the top right corner, you can check out their YouTube channel. I recommend you go and subscribe. Really awesome channel, really awesome guys. And to support this video, share, like, and comment. That's all I ask. Let's get started, guys. First question is from Jack Manson. He says, or he asks, carb refeeds during cutting. How much? How often? Do I lower the fats? Do I have to go over maintenance? Hey, thanks, he says.
That's going to be pretty... First of all, I want to address the concept of maintenance.
Okay.
People think, you know, their off-season was, whatever they're eating in their off-season was their maintenance, or whatever they figured out on some calculator was their maintenance. Yeah. Maintenance is not a static figure. Mm-hmm. We burn different amount of calories every damn day, and especially during a deficit, it's going to be jumping all over the place. So your maintenance is going to be a moving target. It's tough to give definitive prescriptions on how to do a refeed, but basically what you want to do is try to get your carbs close to off-season levels. If you're doing it, maybe, this is general, because some people I do differently. Like maybe when you're starting to get lean, I would definitely put it in at least like once a week. I only start dropping down protein and fat if I'm really trying to really maximize the total amount of fat loss I can get, you know. Okay. Because you know, fat and protein have a less of an impact on trying to get your metabolism going. So if I got somebody who's behind the 8 ball as far as being lean, I want to get their metabolism still working so we can get lean, but I'm concerned about just, you know, calorie balance. I might drop the protein and fat down a little bit. Okay. But sometimes I'll just keep fat and protein there and just have it be a day where they're eating like a regular day.
Okay. So I have a question. I noticed that during my prep, much of the time my carbs were actually even above, you know, what they're currently at. Say, like I've been up to 500 on my prep, and I'll usually go 425, 450 right now. How would you explain that? Or
well, I had never had an off season with you.
That's true. That's true.
So, and some people respond, like when I do refeeds,
yeah,
I have 450, 500 carbs. And my low days are lower because I have a very swingy and adaptive metabolism, you know?
Yeah.
So some people will need carbs that are, like right now my carbs are at 350.
Off season?
Yeah, that's my off season carb intake. I don't have a high day. I have a 350 day every day. But when I start dieting, I get like maybe a one around 250, a bunch of days at like 150, and then one day at 450, 500. You know? Okay,
so even above your off-season regular.
Yeah, and that's something you have to figure out over time. Like if you notice, like every time you do a refeed, you hit a new low every like 2 days later, or sometimes the freaking next day. Yeah. You can tell that it influences thermogenesis, and you burn. You know, you burn more from eating more acutely. Yeah. So I'll watch to see a couple things, like what are my carb levels at in the off season, and what are my weight loss patterns and also visual patterns look like. You know, and the people who respond well to the carb refeeds, they're also the ones who respond really well to trying to eat up into the show. Yeah. I mean, I've had some guys who I've doubled their carb intake and they've dropped 4 pounds over the course of prep. Like I just did this with Moses. And
so wait.
Yeah.
When you're doubling their carb intake, are you necessarily taking it into a surplus?
Probably not. If they're losing weight, right? That's the thing. The maintenance is a moving target. I had a client, Billy, who I did this with. He was like 163 with light glute striations on 150 grams of carbs, and probably some of this is I'm misremembering, and probably I think cardio every day. And I started dropping cardio, increasing carbs slowly, and I got him to like, I want to say 158 with like stupid shredded glutes. Okay. And he was on, I want to say 3 or 4 days of cardio, and his carbs were up to 300. So he basically, you know, reverse dieted before he did a show. And
he got
peeled, you know? Yeah. So I mean, it's basically like, I look at it this way. A long diet where you get lean and a deficit is almost like a metabolic investment. You know, you're cutting, and it's like you're just kind of pulling back this
bow,
right? Yeah. And then when you actually start increasing it, you release the bow, and sometimes it'll run away from you, you know? Like, I mean, there was a week where, you know, Billy stalled out for 3 weeks on 150 grams of carbs, and then we got into the 200s. There were some weeks I was trying to have him not lose 2 pounds a week, you know, on 100 grams more carbs. So, and the beauty of that was that he was like shredded, eating like 400 plus grams of carbs, and I think he actually had to like stop counting to get unshredded. And he was like, you know, Berto did the same thing. He discovered this in, I want to say, '08. He had to literally like indulge during Christmas and Thanksgiving and like binge eat to not have striated glutes because he reversed so well. He's definitely the exception to the rule, but I mean, I've experienced it to a lesser extent. In '09, I got super lean, and then I was able to walk my carbs up for 3 weeks from like really low into the 2s, and I looked pretty good. So I mean, everyone can do it. It's just how long is your bowstring, you know?
So I guess we kind of jumped or tangent right there.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
How often would you recommend someone to do a carb refeed on a cutting diet?
If they are going from fat to normal, you could do it once every 2 weeks. You know,
okay.
A lot of it has to do with just sanity too, and just, you know, does it feel hard? You know, if you're not even blinking at the fact that you're on lower macros and you're going from a little bit overweight to normal, you don't necessarily need them, because you don't start seeing metabolic issues with most people until they get leaner.
Lean as in?
I would say under 15%.
Oh, under 15%.
You know.
Okay.
So most bodybuilders who start a diet and they're, you know, 20, 30 over, they're men. I normally start with a once a week refeed, and then sometimes some guys I'll start with twice a week if they seem to need it or respond better to it. And then when they get leaner, I normally might increase the frequency of it.
Okay.
And I like to use kind of the refeed numbers as almost like a metabolic target once we start getting the other way. Like the goal, I tell my guys, you know, we want to make that refeed day your every day, but keep you lean, you know, after the diet. And that's not, I mean, if you're one of the guys who refeeds on higher carbs than your off-season numbers, that may not happen, but you get it as high as you can, then you bring the refeed down. So, highly individual though. I mean, that's one of those things, that's more of an art than it is a science. So to answer that guy's question, it's like, you gotta play with it. You gotta experiment. It's taken me years to figure out how to do that with people. So.
Damn, well, there you go, Jack. Let's move on to the next question.
Hey, quit being a little bitch!
Ogus cake!